My name's Jordan Banks, and I'm a photojournalist by trade. And in the beginning of the pandemic, I started up a travel magazine aimed at supporting writers, photographers, creatives through the pandemic. And I was in crypto and involved in very early stages of Web3, but it quickly became very apparent to me that the way we were building our community and the way we were supporting and the whole process was just to try and give back to artists. I'd been incredibly lucky through my career to travel the world and get paid to take photographs and had untold opportunities over 2 decades, that it felt like it was time to give back. And I was building this magazine and we were getting support and we were really building a community around us. And then as I started to get into Web3 more, I kind of realized that what we'd built was a Web3 business, but we'd done it in a Web2 world. So it seemed like the perfect crossover for us to build in and tokenize the magazine. And at the current stage, we don't want to be like whispering out first, but I believe we're definitely the first travel magazine in the world to be tokenizing our content, and definitely the first magazine coming out of the UK to do it. So the way we looked at this was we entered into multiple ways of sort of trying to fund the magazine through tokenizing it, and started off looking at high packages, sort of entering at sort of 1 ETH, half an ETH, things like that. And this was, again, during the bull run, so it didn't seem so unrealistic. But we then realized we're really busy doing a magazine, building this community, and we didn't actually have time to add any sort of value aside from the community and aside from the actual magazine. And we really wanted to put artists in the forefront of it. It wasn't really aimed as a collectible. It was aimed at supporting artists, to build artists, to get artists out there working and creating and getting paid correctly for their work, which especially in the editorial side of photography was just dwindling and really, really suffering. So we continued to build this up, and then we started to look at maybe trying to lower the price down to like really, really low, sort of like editions level. And it eventually became clear that we just actually wanted to just completely offer this to the community as free. Obviously, we're getting into a bear market, there was tough times, and we actually managed to work out a method through sort of angel investors and people coming in who believed in our project. They gave us the ability to actually continue to grow our project, grow the magazine, and not worry about the issues of actually having to make money from the magazine or subsidize things. This was all covered. So we had our editors, we had everything done from a Web2 world, but we also wanted to bring in the Web2 world through our community into Web3, and likewise take the Web3 world, the photographers that are struggling, that are not making enough sales in Web3, into Web2. And actually start them getting commissions, getting assignments, building portfolios that they could then lend to Mint and actually make a successful career while building their name. So while this was all happening, we then actually won the Travel Magazine of the Year for our first issue, and we're shortlisted on the 18th. We'll find out if we won it again for the 2nd year in a row, which would be a first for the magazines in the UK. So we've gone down that sort of route. So we've done a completely free mint, which is a mint pass, which we put out 1,000 of them, and they're completely free. They're maxed to claim for $5 per wallet. And they can be claimed at Journey, which is spelled JRNY mag.net .com/NFTs. I'll give out stickers and QR codes later on if anyone wants one. But we worked out a method, which is most importantly the way, because we've been able to get some funding and angel investors to come into this project to really help us. We wanted to give back, and we've built an ecosystem now where, relying on the fact that if we are able to get more subscribers through Web3, that shows more revenue. So when we do have sponsorship for the magazine, because the magazine doesn't take adverts at all, but it does take sponsorship. So we're allowed to just do a light sponsorship for the magazine, but then we wanted to bring digital content into it and actually having assignments so we could get photographers, writers, creatives, artists out on the road doing what they love, like every week, all the time, every month, or multiple artists a year. And we wanted to start getting long form assignments back, like the good old days of when we were working for National Geographic and shooting 3, 6 months, a year, 2-year assignments, which are just dead now in the water. And we found a way to try and hopefully do this. So we built this sort of eco-circle where people go onto the digital content and then subscribe and support the magazine through numbers, which puts our actual, our revenues up, which we can then pump back. Because again, it's not an official non-profit, but the aim is everything is going to be non-profit. We're not looking to make money. We're looking to pump it all back into the ecosystem, aside from obviously the fees for our editors and people like that and staff that have to get paid to do their work. So the way we figured to do this, we built up a collection fund, which was the obvious way. When you enter into Web3, you think, how do you gain attention? How do you get traction from what you're doing? The obvious thing is to sort of market loss leading and just put in money to it and build a name up. But we decided that wasn't actually, while that was a good idea and we wanted to do that, and we were offered a collection fund to do this by some of my collectors from Web2, we realized that we couldn't just get this done from the DMs, and it was just going to be mayhem if people were just dropping us and just, sending stuff to DMs. And we thought, okay, we'll go back into the Web 2 world and keep this circle going and put it into a form just on the website. And then that made us realize that's going to make people spend time on the website, which obviously allows us to keep numbers up, revenue up, marketing, sponsorship, all this sort of stuff, advertising, which we are prepared to do for our digital content goes up. Obviously allows us to collect. We then realized that we were building this big log of like incredible photographers, artists, writers, creatives across the board that was just sitting there. And as we were building, we suddenly realized we needed assignments were coming up in Spain and China and all these places, and we were like, hang on a sec, we've got these artists at our doorstep, at our fingertips, and we don't need to pay the fees to fly them out there and put them up in accommodation, so it could all go back into the artist. So we started to build up this black book, I say, of what we were doing, which helped us and obviously helped the artists. And then we started to build into that, realize we started to ask by collectors who were interested from the real, like IRL, Web 2, and Web 3, asking us who we sort of liked and what sort of work we rated. So we then decided to build a black book, actually of a gallery, so there's just a register so collectors could come in and actually support it and see what was going on. So it built this whole ecosystem of just as it keeps pumping round and round, it just kept growing and growing and allows us to keep pushing boundaries, collecting work, supporting artists, getting them out on assignments, and growing our readership. And I'm fully bullish on Web3, like it's completely what we believe in. It's a company we believe that NFTs, and as one of the talks was talking earlier, we don't think they'll be called NFTs. We think it will just become photography or just art. It won't ever be, in 3, 4, 5 years, we won't be using these terms at all. It will just be the only way it is. And obviously for photography, as myself, I see that it's the perfect platform to support photographers. It almost looks better on screens, I think, than, whereas I sort of see this downsides possibly to some physical art, but I think for NFTs and digital art and photography, it's absolutely perfect. But yeah, that's all I've got to say on the matter. If anyone's got any questions, then please fire away. And if anyone wants to come and see me, I'll just hang outside for a bit. I've got a load of mint passes that anyone can just claim. And like I said, it's all completely free. It allows you to claim, the mint pass allows you to claim the next 3 issues also as NFTs. And then I don't know what we're going to do from there. I don't think we'll ever like tokenize it in for money. I think we'll go down this route and see how it goes. Go ahead.
What was
The biggest challenge to be in Web3 or the mag?
putting the magazine as an NFT?
I would say dealing with design. Our only real challenge that we had, because we were very lucky, because I've been in this industry for sort of 20 years, so I knew all the PRs who worked for tourist boards. I had all the connections to people. So it was working with a new team and actually managing people who understood the project. When we very first started, we had incredibly low budget, almost nothing. So we needed to find people who understood and believed in what we were building. And we now have a really solid team, and they're reaping the benefits of this and becoming full-time, and have made careers out of it just by bearing with us for 12 months. I mean, they got paid, but not much. But designers was the hardest thing, just trying to work out what we wanted to get this vision across and how we wanted to lay out. It had no adverts. It was full content, long-form journalism, like really storytelling, and getting it in and making it look good was a real challenge. Any other questions? Go ahead. Yeah, so actually, I didn't bring that up. It's a physical magazine, so it's in Barnes & Noble, it's in W.H. Smith, it's all across the world. It's about 25 different countries. It's all over the UK, all over the US, Australia, but yeah, it's in little sort of boutique magazine shops in sort of Sweden, Japan, all over the world. We're currently working on actually getting it translated into Mandarin through a contact of mine, but it's a big, big job. But yeah, it's a physical magazine, and the NFT, the Mint Pass actually allows you to claim the physical copies as well, but we have had to charge postage, because obviously if you're in the UK where we're based, it costs like £1 or £2, so it's not a big deal. But when you start to get out to the US, Australia, we'd start having to spend quite a lot on just postage. So, but the Mint Pass allows you to claim the physical as well as the NFT version of the magazine. There's still a massive demand for actual high quality magazines. And if you sort of have to see the magazine in physical to it's kind of what, I hate the term, but people have called it a bookazine. So we've designed the magazine to be, it's really high end, high quality paper, and it's something we didn't want you giving out to the doctor's studio. We wanted you to keep it, and you'd actually, really want to put this thing on this coffee table and then take it onto the bookshelf and keep replacing it. But obviously it's inevitable, I think, that we're heading into, even if it's not what Web3 digital content. You can see from sort of National Geographic in the US, their traveler magazine has already gone completely digital. So we're preempting that side of things. But I think the way the companies such as PRs and the areas that have got money, so tourist boards that are prepared to sponsor and put into it big brand hotels, they like to see this jewel of like actual physical print and then the drip down effect through digital content and subscribership and that sort of thing. So hope that answers your question.
We're time.
Okay, sorry, I've run out of time. Thank you very much.
Everyone.